Hello and welcome to my 5 budget decks that aren't complete garbage for new and returning players and pretty much everyone else video. Duel Links is a free-to-play game. That means it can get very expensive, and it's about to get even more expensive. But don't worry folks, I have a solution. With the 5 decks that I'm about to share, you can finally reach the King of Games rank without having to spend as much money as Kyber did on this really weird Blue Eyes Jet thing that became a card later. I'm recommending these decks based on 3 criteria: how strong a deck is, how easy it is to play, and how cheap it is to build. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5. Tenyi. Tenyi is a deck entirely located within the World of Barian mini-box, and it's a deck about summoning non-effect monsters and doing stuff with them. On the plus side, it is pretty easy to learn. There's like one main combo that you need to keep in mind. It is pretty consistent, so you often get to that one combo. There's very few spec spots in the deck, which means there's very little place for non-engine card, which seems like a negative, but it also means that you're not gonna have to fill the deck with staples and expensive stuff, you know? And last but not least, you don't really need a specific scale or character to make it work. It just works with anything. On the negative side, it's one of these decks that really hates Graveyard Disruption, can play through Dweller, can play through Necro Valley, can play through DD Crow sometimes. Also, make sure to reach Shaman before you try to summon Baxia, else it's not gonna work. And also, like most of the decks on this list, it got Power Creep, but this one got Power Creep the worst in my opinion. It is not nearly as powerful as the other decks out there. To build this deck, here's a rough idea of the UR and SRs you're gonna need. You're gonna need 3 Assuraners. I'm sorry, but it is mandatory to play this. You can use a UR Dream Ticket to bet Baxia, and you can buy the bundle thingy to get Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, which is also really important to the deck. It's gonna be like 1,000 gems, I think. I'm not sure. And then in the SR department, 3 Monks of the Tenyi, which we're probably gonna get when we're looking for 3 Assuraners. 2 Shamans and 2 Vishitas are enough. And then, you're gonna get all the rares and the commons that you need in the meantime. I did the math and they should cost you approximately 17,000 gems to get to this deck, which, by dueling standards, is not that expensive. Here's a 10-year list that topped a recent tournament a month ago, so not that recent. As you'll notice, there's only one non-10-year card in the main deck, and it's White Princess. You can replace it with Skullmeister, which is also a free-to-play hand trap. You can replace it with many things. You don't have to play the green Tenyi, you don't have to play 3 Evenly Dragon Cycles. There's a couple of flex spots, but not too many, 3 at most. And also, as you can see, the skill that they're using is the Legend of the Heroes. You're using this to gain life points. Skills that gain you life points are really good in this deck because, it's a below average turn 1 and you need to survive. So more life points equals more good points. Number 4, Lunarlight. Lunarlight is now pretty much completely available in the deck build box White Spirit, and it's about fusion summoning big monster and punching your opponent in the face with. On the plus side, it has a very simple game plan. Some of the bigger fusion monsters like Saber Dancer and Leo Dancer can be pretty hard to out for decks that do not have access to Gingirsu specifically, and it's a pretty consistent deck. It doesn't break all that often. On the negative side, the budget version of the deck is more focused on fusion summoning and less on the combo and Xyz plays that the more expensive version has access to. The deck doesn't really do much outside of beatdown, which is an issue because sometimes you can't beat through a rock with a big stick, or whatever the saying is. And unfortunately, you're going to need some cards that can only be obtained through Serena, which is a legendary duelist. I think she's widely available, but you still need to unlock her if that's not already done. In terms of rare cards that you're going to need, 3 Kaleido checks, 1 Tiger King is fine. I've seen lists that don't bother playing any at all, but you do you. 3 Lunarlight Tigers is really important. 2 to 3 Martins and 5 Formation Tanky. You don't want to play too many tankies because they do tend to clog your back row, but you don't want to play too few because it's just a free search. And then for the Xyz cards, you can spend some Dream Tickets on stuff like Abyss Dweller, Evil Swarm Nightmare, Malevolent Sin, pretty much solid rank 4 options that you see played in these decks. They should cost you an approximate 18,000 gems, which is a bit more expensive than Tenyi, but it's also a bit more fun. Here's the list that got King of Games this very month. As you can see, this deck's pretty flexible. There's choosing to play Polymerization, there's no Lunarlight Fusion, there's no hand traps or anything, and they even have an Utopia in the main extra deck, which you do you, I guess. The skill that they're playing is Lunarlight Elevation, which is often used as a combo enabler, but I've seen a lot of lists get to cog with Destiny Draw very specifically, focusing only on the fusion side of things, so that will work too. Number 3. Tachyon. Tachyon is a deck pretty much completely available in the Tachyon of Galaxy mini box, and it's about being as annoying as possible before punching your opponent in the face. On the plus side, the deck is really consistent thanks to a completely bonkers skill that recently got unnerfed. The core of it is super cheap, there's only like a couple of box cards and the rest can be obtained through Legendary Duelist, and has a lot of room for text, which I've pointed as a semi-downside before, but this is an upside here because you can just play whatever back row and hand traps you want, if you have them. On the other side, the optimal extra deck for this build is really expensive. It's going to cost you a lot of dream tickets at the very least. It is a bit of a brittle combo deck that is very susceptible to disruption, going second specifically, and in order to play it you need to unlock Mizar very specifically. In terms of cards you'll need 2 Galaxy Ice Tachyon Dragon should be enough for the URs, and that's it. And then for the SRs, 2 to 3 Nebula Dragons. If you stop at 2, that's probably the cheaper options. And 1 Starlight Cyphers. Maybe you can experiment with 2 as well. And then you should probably use your dream tickets on good ranked options, Dengetsu, and anything that says Galaxy Ice pretty much. The deck can cost you anywhere from 12,000 gems to 20,000 gems, which still isn't all that much. Here's a deck list that got to cog this month. As you can see, there's a lot of flex spots. You don't have to play 3 copies of Parsecs, you don't have to play 3 copies of Skullmeister. You can also get the trade-ins in the same mini box, and what is very important is the Tachyon Transmigration, which is a level up reward that you get for free. Unfortunately, you really do need the good ranked options if you want to do relevant combo beyond just Galaxy Ice Tachyon get Transmigration pass. Number 2. Evil Eye. Evil Eye is a deck completely available in the Deck Build Bots Midnight Terror, and it's about punching yourself in the face. On the plus side, it's very cheap, it's incredibly easy to build, it can be rather difficult to interact with given that the key card of the deck gives targeting and destruction protection to your monsters, and it doesn't really need the extra deck, which means that it's that less expensive to build. On the negative side, it is really hard to play. I certainly can't play it optimally. It's one of these decks that also needs to go first because it just folds to a single Book of Moon, and I hate them. In terms of cards that you'll need, in the UR department, 3 Cerziel, Watcher of the Evil Eye, which is the best normal summon in the deck. 2 Evil Eye of Selene, 2 is enough. Don't get 3. 2 is enough, it's very searchable, it's very easy to access. In super rares, the field spell, Evil Eye, Domain, Periodolia. You're gonna need 3 of this and you can access it with the 1 copy of Terraforming that you also get in a bundle print, and the thing on the right says Terraforming bundle. I couldn't find a correct picture for this one. All in all, just building the core of this deck should cost you 10,000 gems, which is the lowest we've seen so far. Here's a deck list that topped a tournament recently. As you can see, it's very simple core, you don't need to worry about cards in the extra deck or those Ice Dragon prisons. Just know that the Link 2 Evil Eye monsters are also available in the same deck build box, and the Link 3 Ultra Rare is a free-to-play card that you can get through Konami events and stuff. As far as the scale is concerned, they're playing Seal Tombs for tournament purposes, but life point boosting scales work also if you're only concerned with climbing to cog. Number 1. Unchained. Unchained is a deck from the newest mini-box Destroyer of the Phantasm, and what it does is, you get the idea at this point. On the plus side, it's a very aggressive deck that can close out games super quick, but it's also a super durable deck because all of its cards basically float into an Unchained monster that also floats. And like I said before, it has very few flex spots, which means you can play a deck that consists of nothing but Unchained card, and it's still gonna be really good. On the negative side, it really hates Abyss Dweller, and it's one of the best decks of the current format, so you should get ready to face a lot of mirror matches. Also, whoever trained these dogs did a really bad job. They are very mean dogs. As for the cards that you need, you're gonna need 3 Abominations Prison, that's the ultra rare of the mini box. You're also gonna need 3 Aruhas, 2 to 3 Rakrias, and 1 to 2 Unchained Abomination, all of which are super rares. And that's it. It should still cost you around 17,000 gems, which is a bit more expensive than the previous deck, but it's completely worth it. This one is the best by a landslide. Here's a really recent tournament deck, the Gutsy Top 4. You can play 2 Unchained Abominable Soul, you know, the big purple dog. It's fine. Some people play 1, you can play 2. As far as the skill is concerned, you can either use a life point boosting skill like Link Dark Rays is a pretty good option, or you can use Fiend's Exchange, which is just probably recommended if you're playing 2 Abominable and Chain Soul. Also, if you're looking at that extra and you see a triple burst dragon, you don't need to worry about this. I'm pretty sure this was for the mirror exactly. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it pretty informative. Let me know in the comments which of these decks you think you're gonna build, or if you're gonna build something else entirely that I missed. Thank you once again for watching. Take care, and I will see you all next time.